Hello, good morning, traders. It is Monday, October 11th, 2021, 12:48 p.m. Sri Lanka time, and I'm ready for this week. I'm ready to make some pips. I'm ready to make a lot of money this week, and I hope you all are as well. In this video, I'll be going over a couple of pairs. I'll be going over Euro GBP, GBP JPY, and if we have time, I'll be going over GA, updating you guys with my current status on that, along with Euro USD. So let's get started on this weekly breakdown. And without further ado, let's do this GBP JPY breakdown. See what happened over the course of the past few days over the weekend, and since the last time I made a video. It looks like GJ actually hit our target. So I had a target above. Let me remove this out the way so we can see. And GJ, I had a target around 153.345. If you do go back into my Discord channel, you can see everything that I do explain on the Discord. So we can see today, we can see GJ buy-in. This was on the 8th. And so we just keep on seeing these things happen. So GJ long, I had target 153.3. There we go. So that was on October 8th. So that was a few days ago. 153.3. It hit target right on point. So after that, GJ did go up for an additional 70 plus pips, in which I told myself that it looks like it's going to exhaust itself at some point and retest some area of support before continuing on. On the bigger macro scale, we can see that GJ is actually, let's go to the back a little bit, it actually broke that resistance, and now we're waiting for a solid 4-hour close, which looks like it kind of already did so. But just wait, because this 4-hour close was slightly below the high of July 5th and July 6th resistance. So we need to continue to monitor these next 4 hours, because it's going to determine our range for the remainder of the week until another breakout. I'm looking at the next highs to be tapped and before continuation. So around 155 is where I will see some form of profit taking once I get into my next trade setup. That's about 100 pips away from current price, and I will be stalking this pair. Now, why won't I enter this pair right now after taking profits? And by the way, I got into this trade. Let's look back. I got into this trade around, it looks like I got in the trade, the price was, at the moment, it was around 152.2. So when we go back to 152.2, we can see just exactly when I got to this trade. And it was right around here, 152.2. So I caught about 180 pips total on this rise that did take a few days to rise. So from the breakout day, which was about on the 7th, you guys can see I called this breakout, and I explained that if price did continue to soar towards the upside, I will hold on, I'll have a tight stop, and tight stop was respected, and price pulled back, retested resistance, the support of the new breakout, and it continued on up. And that's what caused the completion of my move. Now, I should have had the completed move slightly up above where it's at right now. It looks like price wanted to continue up today and touch the 154 psychological zone, in which it just did, as we can all see. So at this point, price closed slightly below 154, as we can see. So we have to have a 4-hour close above 154 before we can continue to see a price rally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a horizontal trend line. I don't know why that's yellow. Just a moment. Let's do blue. So I'm going to draw a horizontal trend line just so we can all see just about where the current resistance area is. Let's go into the daily chart now. And now we can see a clearer picture as to where current resistance is, what we suspect on breaking, and a possible continuation. This is all on the daily, so this is from a micromanagement. This is from a macro perspective. So on the daily, it doesn't look like much, but on the 4-hour, it is a lot. And if price does continue to go higher, I do suspect it to break 156 and continue towards the upside. So that's my third target for the week. So I do believe price has enough momentum. GBP pairs tend to have a lot of volatility. So what I see would more than likely happen is this scenario right here. Just a moment. What I see is most likely to happen is that price is going to bounce. You see how it created a downtrend back on the 28th of June. If you do draw a Fibonacci, and if you guys were following me from my previous videos earlier on in the year, I was using Fibonacci a lot. Nowadays, I'm just using it like it's very easy to use, and it's a very handy tool now that I know how to read price action on the daily. So what we can see now is the 0.618 was supposed to be retested on that downtrend to shove price back down towards the downside for further lows. Price on the daily chart, it did not respect the 0.618 resistance and continued to climb up towards the 0.786. This is our short, this is our stop out. So of course, when we're trading and price reaches here, if we were short from the beginning, which was up here, down here would have been an ideal point to take profit. Around 149.5 would have been a perfect place to take profit each and every month leading up until this current, I call this a reversal. So you could have collected, let's see, if you wanted to take a shorts and you had a bearish bias the entire summer, you could have collected up to 300 pips per month, as you all can see, if you just were just bearish. If you traded both sides, you could have collected maybe 600 plus pips. And this is without trading intraday, this is just swinging. So you did have plenty of opportunities on this time frame to collect pips, but if you missed it, now it's too late and it's starting to move, it's on its way up. It broke your resistance and it's on its way up to the first peak, which is right there. I believe this is going to be broken because it looks like pretty weak resistance, and I do believe it's going to break new highs. That's where I'm going to take my weekly target. Now, if it does continue to go up for the month, it's still the beginning of October, so I do suspect price to rally a little further towards the upside. So we can see price kind of rejected right there. So we're still waiting for price to move on up. So I have to actually go out to the monthly chart to see exactly where I suspect price to go. And as we can see, this was weak resistance. See, price ran up into there earlier on this year, and it was testing like about 2018 highs. As we can see right there, February 2018, there was highs around 155.6. And so we revisited those highs this past June because we had a very bullish year for GJ. I don't even remember, I wasn't trading GJ prior to this year. I was trading other pairs, and then I had other traders that I was following that were really eating off GJ, and that kind of drew my attention towards GJ more. And then I realized, oh yeah, this is a very great year for GJ. So this happens, and if you're able to read price action ahead of time, what you would have known is that this was bullish already. And I did go over this in my previous video about the ultra macro scale, so I could look at the 20-year picture and tell you what's going on. But that's in my previous couple videos. But from right here, when I'm reading price action, I can see that price did dip towards new lows, and it failed. There's a failure. And not only was there a failure, but there was a break above. So we have institutional stops right there. We have retail stops right here and right here. What ended up happening as the months got closer to this month is that it broke retail stops. It broke more retail stops because you have long-term swing traders that are holding, suspecting price to break lows, and it's doing the complete opposite because it is going on a counter move of its long-term bear trend, and I was able to identify that based on everything happening right now. Actually, if you do look at it, I'm doing it based off of the 2-year trend, and I'm not doing it based off of the 20-year. If I was doing this based off of the 20-year, just a quick brief exercise of how I would be able to find my 20-year bias is pretty obvious. I'm looking at it right now. My 20-year bias is bearish. So I would hold the shorts until my institutional stops for my 20-year bias gets hit. And where are those institutional stops? those institutional stops is slightly above 198.698. These are these are hedge funds and institutions holding money until, if you guys looked at the Bloomberg article recently, I don't have it in front of me, but when I do, I'll pull it up in a later video. But it did explain that hedge funds are starting to trade again, or starting to make a comeback. So I find that ironic, because if you were a hedge fund, you would have been quiet since 2015 if you were in this pair, and you wouldn't have made any type of noise until so you sold it up here and you bought back in down there. So this is your buy-in for a hedge fund. Now, as a hedge fund, I would be taking profit down here, waiting for the potential break and rally. So hedge funds already got their signal earlier on in the year. When the Bloomberg article came out, it was already too late. But let's just say they got their signal on February of this year. That signal knocking out retail stops, indicating hedge funds to get into the market, is now currently moving. So when a move like this does happen, it's a succession towards the upside, and you're wondering, how does a trading month on a pair end up moving more than, what is this? Shoot, I can't even read that. What is this? Wow, so many pips. Hold on. Yeah, more than 2,000 pips. It looks like it moved literally in 1 month. 2,000 pips. So if it moved that much in 1 month, you have to understand that it's not just regular retail traders moving the market, and it's not really what you call market makers. I mean, market makers are the banks and hedge funds. So that's what kind of moved the market, and it was bound to happen, because standard price action already explained that the break of this low was going to create a volatile rally towards the downside, and that's exactly what it did. It retested, and now it's on its way towards the upside. So hopefully you guys understand the macro picture, and this is where we're at now. So my current stance on this pair is that I'm waiting for a pullback. I'm not entering any more trades. I'm not going to chase the market, and I'm not going to be greedy with what I already received. I received a lot already, and now I'm just currently waiting for some sort of recession. So until I see that, I'll stay out of this pair. I do see potentials, but then I also see a potential disruption in this pair. But looking all the way towards the minute chart, we see a succession from about the 0.786, 153.7. I do see price potentially coming back down towards that area to retest it. This is retail stops right here. This is very obviously retail stops, and this is not a valid support zone. So I would not be buying this pair right now, and I'll actually be just sitting aside and focusing everything on Euro Gbp. I currently have this trade, and it's officially the start of the London session. So it's 1:01 p.m. over here. It's 8:30 a.m. London time. How am I doing on time? I've done 13 minutes on GJ alone. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to just label it Gbpjpy. You guys can come back to this for insight on the beginning of the week bias on this pair. And I'm going to upload another video right after this with the Euro Gbp and the other pairs. Now, before I end this video, I also want to correlate this with currently have a Euro USD buy-in right now, very tight stops. I have, 15 pip stop on this, so I'm just waiting on that. I'll go over that in another video. And I also had a GA. Now, GA, I've been out of this long. I've been out of the long for a while now, but I did suspect that price was going to go down, and this was going to be a failed attempt towards resistance, and that kind of correlates with what we're looking at over here with GJ and how it's also failing down. So there's always some sort of move, and this is a move happening right now on the macro scale that kind of plays out and makes the pairs move in conjunction with each other. So GJ, we know is bullish, and GA, I'm also bullish long term on this, but medium term it's bearish. So what's going to happen now is as GJ picks up on its drop towards the downside, as we can see now, probably going to be bearish news for Europe and GBP. Who knows? But when there's no GBP news today, by the way, if we're looking at the economic calendar, this is what I see. There's no real news for GBP. There's Europe medium term, but for the remainder of the day, there's nothing. There's Brazil. I'm not trading Brazil. And yeah, we don't have any high impact news until 15 hours from now. So what that's telling me is when I'm looking at GBP, it's going to stay within range for the next X amount of time, and then it already looks like it's going to continue down, so maybe it's going to push it and drive GJ towards the downside further. And if that's happening on that time frame, we're also going to suspect GJ. The last pair was GA. We're also going to suspect GJ to kind of fumble out at the top and start making its recession. And this is not a support. That's retail support. This is okay support, but I'll be looking for more right around this area as support. So to avoid any losses from occurring, take profits now if you're in those trades, and just wait for a proper valid movement back towards the downside. Now, I can project where I do believe that it's going to go based off of what I already know. And looking at this, I do believe that this is going to be the firm support. Right around 153 is where I'm looking for longs, around that area. So price would probably drop about 100 pips between today and tomorrow, or the second thing it will do is continue to rise and create some sort of bias for me to get back into the market. But as of right now, there's no bias for me to get back into the market. Even when I go all the way down to the 5-minute, I still don't really have a solid bias. This is too weak. It looks very tight and congested, and so I'm actually staying out of this right now. And this looks like weak support as well. So I'm going to wait, and this looks like the real area. So save myself 100 pips in time and margin. And I'm just going to focus on the current pairs. So next video, we're going over Euro GBP. I went over GA already and why I'm not in there. So we just got Euro GBP and Euro USD to go over in the next video. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.